G'day guys, Dave here from Aluminium. Today we're going to take another look at our mounting bracket for the new Starlink Mini. The reason we're doing this as a video is to show, I suppose, a couple of variations that you can create with this. Like all Boss products, it's modular. So what that means is it can be changed, future-proof. There's a couple of variations where a suction mount, and also it can be purchased as the suction mount version, or it can be upgraded later on, and you can also buy the suction mount version, and then if you want to bolt it to something, you can buy the base separately. Today we're going to try and explain those variations to you. So what we have here is basically the mount itself with the base on it. This is designed to bolt down and be universal to suit multiple different roof racks or whatever you want to bolt it to. Essentially, we've got a very universal hole pattern on the bottom, and so we're just showing that. Now, what's in here is a 3D printed model, so it's a replica to show how it fits in here. So what I'll do, I'll grab the base without the Mini in it, so you can see that. So it's made up of a few different sections. We've got the base that the Mini itself sits in, brackets which clamp it down, mounting brackets on the side which attach it to the universal base. So from there, we have an option to turn this or this one into the suction mount version. So what you would get is these two brackets and three C-sucker 4.5 inch sucker mounts, which will basically allow you to turn it into a stick-on version onto any surface that's non-porous generally. If it's porous, it'll suck air through it, so it won't stick for very long. So timber and things like that, it will stick too, but it'll eventually suck the air straight through the timber, which is no good because then it'll fall off. But things like fiberglass, paintwork, glass, say a moon roof or a sunroof on a car, a fiberglass boat, or a caravan roof, things like that, it's going to stick straight to and work very simply, and then it can be moved between vehicles, whatever, very easily. Okay, so we got our standard Starlink Mini mount here, and now what we're going to do is show you how to use the add-on kit to create a suction mounted version of the Starlink Mini mount. What you will need is a Phillips head screwdriver, 5mm Allen key, and a 10mm socket. You'll be supplied with the cap head screws, all stainless steel, and washers and nylocks to adapt these brackets to these brackets. I'd also recommend using a Loctite. This is a medium thread locker, 243. Anything automotive, you're always better off using some sort of Loctite because things can rattle loose. We do have hex certs built into this, and we've also got spring washers with a washer there. Yes, spring washers will stop the screw from undoing, but you can't always guarantee that, so Loctite is a really good option, and we use it on everything. We have the stainless steel washers, nuts and bolts here. The nut is a nylock, so you don't really have to use the thread locker on those if you're using it once, but if you would undo it, you either replace your nylock or you can use a thread locker on it. Okay, so when you get your add-on kit, you'll receive 3 of these 4.5 C-sucker vacuum mounts in the kit. They'll come in the box and we'll open it up. Now these have their own instructions and care guide, which you will need to read and understand, so that you understand how they're used, how to be cleaned, all those sort of details. So what you'll see when you get it is the suction mount with a plastic cap. Now, when you're not using your mounting system on your vehicle or wherever you choose to put it, you really should be putting these back on it. It also explains in here, there is a guide of their load rating, how it works, the pull force, the actual load capacity versus pull force, and how to keep them clean. So, and there's a trouble guide in there. So they're a high quality product made in the US. Okay, so when we get these, what we're actually doing is they'll have a higher pull out force when we use these two slotted spots here, not the UNC thread that's in the top, because they're US, so they're not metric. So what we're going to do is actually remove this cap, and then we're going to put a M6 stainless steel cap head screw in place. So we'll need our Phillips head. Going to undo the 4 screws. So now we can pull this off. We're leaving the pump on there, and while we're doing it, we've just got the plastic cap on. So I'm just going to drop those out. We'll get some of the cap heads out. And what we're going to do, this is the front with the BA in it, and that's the back with the chop out in it, so that we're running one C-sucker at the rear, 2 at the front. It creates a triangle, so we've got the stability instead of just running 1 at the front and 1 at the rear. So what I'll do, I'll just do the single one, and then we'll use the magic of video, and Dylan will speed it up and it'll be done in 2 seconds. I'm going to get my large washer here, go through the top of the bracket. Then I'm going to take one of the smaller washers, because we don't have as much room in the bottom. We're going to put the nylock on, and we'll repeat another large washer through the bracket, take the small washer, put it on there, get our nylock and do it up. Okay, so now what we need to do, we've got the 10mm socket, put that on here, 5mm Allen key, just do those up. Because the bracket is slotted, you'll have a little bit of movement from side to side, so just make sure that you're happy with how central it is. Once you're happy with that, just nick it up. So nylocks in there, washers, large washers on the top, you're not going to have a problem. So what we'll do now, we're going to place this back onto here, and we want to face the pump out this way, so the orange part and the pump of the cylinder. And the reason is we need to access it. If we turn it around the other way or in a different orientation, you wouldn't be able to get to the pump. So we're going to put this on here. So what we've done is we've put access holes through the top so that you can actually get to the screws with a screwdriver. You're just going to have to feed them through this one time, which will be a little bit cumbersome. But once again, magic of video, we'll get it done. Okay. Screws are in, that mounts there. Now I'm going to go through and finish these so we can set the whole thing up. So let's get it done. So now we've got these brackets sitting on here loosely, we're just going to nick them up. I'm not doing them over tight because I'm just going to take a look and make sure they're sitting central as well, because I gave the holes just a little bit of clearance just to make it nice and easy to get the nuts and bolts in. Making sure they're sitting central, which these are. I'm happy with that. I can see my holes here. Just making sure they line up with the cutouts there to make it a bit easier when I'm pushing the screwdriver through. I'm going to tighten these up. Make sure you do these nice and tight. They are nylocked, so they won't come undone. Okay, so what we've got now is the bracket ready to take the pumps again. So we will speed this process up. Now that I've got my screws, I've decided to put them in like this time. And you got to make sure that your vacuum pump is going outwards. If you face it inwards, you're never going to get to it. Now I'm going to carefully line these up. carefully start screwing them in to make sure you are in the thread, which we are. So what I've done, I've just put those in loose, and I'm going to grab my other side as well. I'll just feed them in like this, just so I've got access. A little bit fiddly, but you're only doing it the one time. So once again, now I've got those screws sitting in there. I'll line those up carefully, making sure the vacuum pump is pointing outwards. Once again, you don't want to be trying to pump that from in here. So what I'm doing, I can see the screw holes lined up. Get my Phillips head in there. Now I'm just tightening these up, just nicking them up because there's 4 bolts, so we don't want to do one all the way up before we nick the other ones up. So I've done that now. Now I'm just going to go through, you can see they're all in there. We can get to our pump from the sides, all good. So now we know we can screw it up. So you can see the access hole, I'm getting to those. Makes it a bit easier because you can see from the back. Okay, now we've got 2 mounts. We've got the rear mount and we've got the front mount. We got the C-suckers mounted to them. Now we're ready to update the base to take these. So now what we'll need is our 5mm Allen key. I'm removing the top brackets, and I'll show you why in a second. Because what we should be able to do is essentially slide the center mounting bracket out from the base once these are fully removed. So I may just have to loosen this off a little bit. And there we go, separating the 2. So that's the base. You can buy these separately, so if you bought the sucker mount kit version without the base, you can add that on in the future. I'll put this over here. So now what we're going to do, and this is where I'd recommend Loctite, and I will just shake that up. There's lots of different Loctite or thread lockers on the market, Loctite being one of the more famous. Still using the spring washer, our large washer, line up our hole. Now it's not really going to matter in the orientation depending on which way you want to run your cable. You can pull that mount out at any stage and flip it around, the Starlink. So if you feel that you put it together backwards, it won't matter. So taking the spring washer, large washer, putting a little bit of Loctite on, lining our hole up, and we're just going to do those up. Okay, that's the rear done. Same deal with the front. What we have here is our Starlink Mini mount with the C-sucker mounts on them. So there you go. That's pretty lightweight still, and you know, very very universal. You could mount it on a door or a roof, wherever you want. So that's how it looks. Let's stick it to something, I guess. So what we're going to do is pull the caps off. And if you read the instructions, it says you need to clean the surface, which, you know, anything sticking on, I would agree. Make sure that when you're using it, there's no cuts, or, you know, the rubber hasn't hardened, things like that. Just visual inspection, because, you know, you are sticking something to a car, potentially you're doing 100 k's an hour, you don't want it to come off. Here's good a place as any. There we go. So when you're doing these, you essentially want that orange tab to disappear up into the suction mount. The tab has now disappeared into the block. I'll release it. So these little tabs here, there we go. So you don't want to see that when you're using it. What that means is the vacuum seal is released. So they will eventually come out over time. So that's worth inspecting. Probably not the most practical spot, but it works. So basically the way the sea sucker works, it's sucked down. There's a little tab here that breaks the seal. So to remove it, we're just going to break that. So that's 1, 2, and 3. So now that's off. Yeah, so it's really that simple. Anywhere that's got a surface that's relatively flat, you can stick it to. So we could pretend this is the roof. Probably should use a rag, but you know, once again, just a demonstration. One mount on, 2 mounts. There you go. So sticks on very easily, and there's a lot of force holding that down. So I think the pull force is about 60 kilos per suction mount, and the load rating on top of them, if you were to put weight on top, is about 18 kilos of down force. So, you know, that's roughly 60 kilos of down force, or, you know, let's say 150 plus of pull-off force. So very strong. They're not going to pull off. And they also offer shock absorption as well. So they're taking out the bumps because they're made of rubber. So yeah, nice and easy. We'll take this off. And there we have it. If you're after the best Starlink Mini mount bracket on the market, come to Boss, because we got the best. All made in-house, all laser cut, folded, precision built, fully treated aluminium and powder coated properly, so you'll get a lifetime of use out of it. Yeah, it's all top quality gear. So if you want one of these brackets, hit up the sales team or jump online and order one and we'll get it out to you. Thanks guys.